This podcast contains strong language and adult themes.
Date Night China explores life and love for better relationships in China. Every week, we hear from different guests and dive into dating, relationships, mental health, and how both expats and Chinese people connect with each other here in China.
Join the Date Night community through our podcast and events in Beijing and Shanghai, and catch up on all the latest stories on our official WeChat account.
Find our account on WeChat by searching Date Night China, no spaces, no capital letters. You can also join our WeChat group by adding Rachel, me, on WeChat. You can search Rachel Weiss 22, RACHEL WEISS 22.
And now for this week's episode. This week, 10 China daters join us to dive into the murky waters of catfishing.
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, that's good addition.
I'm going to do the sound effects for this episode,
Okay.
and you do the hosting.
Okay. The art of misleading or lying about who you are online to pursue a deceptive online relationship. Okay,
like Twilight Zone.
Yeah, okay. We hear some crazy catfishing stories, from encountering heavily filtered photos and online bots to a Tinder tale of horror. You're not gonna add it. I thought that was a good point.
That was a good point, actually.
That was a good point.
Bum, bum, bum. Oh, I messed it up.
Okay, to a Tinder tale of horror.
Bum, bum, bum.
Now it's ruined now. A surprising group catfish as well, and more. And we also discuss the more modern, yet equally baffling voice phishing, a new phenomenon where people alter their accent, dialect, or tone in attempt to sound more sexy or desirable.
I have a lot of thoughts about voice phishing now, which we will talk about in the podcast, I guess. But like, even when we change our voice to talk to each other, like sometimes I want to talk like a British person. Am I voice phishing you right now?
Well, I'm in too deep now. It's,
I've tricked you.
Yeah. But yeah, voice phishing, I think there's a borderline, and I think there's a few comments that come up in this episode that actually is a fair point, and that says it's probably not as bad. I don't think it's as bad as catfishing. That's how I feel right now.
If you do it sexy enough, people overlook the fact that it's not your real voice. Is that right?
Well, no, I just think, we'll hear from some people that have got some very good opinions about voice phishing. But I've been so excited about this episode because we started recording this like when we first started season 3. You know, we've been collecting people's stories, and they're just wild, some of these stories. Like, you can't believe that some of these things are happening.
Yeah, I think when you're in China, especially, even before I came to China, you know what catfishing is generally. I mean, most people know what catfishing is by now, if you've watched the show and you've heard these stories. But in China, it kind of takes on this whole different, element, different layers here. And we did an episode about this in season 2, but we wanted to do it again because there's just so much to it. You know, from Tinder and Tantan, you have filtering photos, you have people doing online dating scams and bots. There's just so much here that's very unique to China for catfishing.
Yeah, so we thought we would start by hearing from some people from the Beijing community, the Beijing community, that share their thoughts and opinions on catfishing and voice phishing. So we're going to start with them, and then later in the episode, we've got some very detailed stories about what happened to certain people.
Oh, they're so good.
So good. So strap in, get a drink, and here's the first segment.
My name is Aleese. I'm from the U.S. I'm from Michigan, and I've lived in China for 3 years. Catfishing. I really feel like it's just some type of pop cultural movement in China where catfishing is just acceptable for men and women. Like, anytime you take a picture with a Chinese friend or coworker, it's instantly edited, or they edit it before posting it. I mean, on the dating sites, you look at these guys and they look like ghosts. Like, all of their skin is pillow white, and they've got like pink cheeks and pink lips and really dark eyebrows and like a perfect hairline. And it's so airbrushed, it's so obviously fake. But all of their photos will look like that. And even if you ask them to send you another photo, they're gonna send you another highly photoshopped photo. And when you meet them in person, okay, so here's a tip. I'm sorry if I forgot the question, but if you are meeting someone in person and all of their pictures are heavily photoshopped, you should get there first. So then they can tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, it's me. Because if you get there second and you're looking around for the person in the photo, you're not going to find them because they're going to look totally different.
My name's Kelly. I'm originally from Canada, but I just moved here from Singapore, and I've been in China just over a year. Ooh, there's a weird thing, right, with girls that they do the high-pitched baby voice, and that drives me nuts because it's not their actual voice. It's like it's something they're doing, right? And if they're not going to do it around the office, then don't do it on a date. But I also know that some people are into that, but that's not me. So yeah, voice not so much. Just I need to get your personality, and your personality should got to come through your text. So like the one-word responses, not good enough, you know. But then because I don't write a book either, right? But yeah, just give me your personality. Give me your personality. Give me your sense of humor. Yeah, that's what I need more. If you're looking to try and meet people, the easiest way to do that is be yourself. And everybody just has to realize that they are a great catch. They are attractive, they are fun, they are cool, and they just have to put themselves out there. And then from that, because like when you're talking to these people online and you're in these group chats, it's hard to take their face value of what they're saying because you don't know who they are. And that's tough, right? I don't know if I'm talking to a male, female. I don't know roughly their age either. I don't know their race, so I don't know where their perspective's coming from. And so yeah, if you're looking and you're in this for dating somebody and trying to meet somebody, and especially if you're in a group chat that's about dating and socializing, be yourself. Show people who you are. At the very least, like show them that you're either a male or a female. And like I said, it doesn't have to be like a face shot. It could be a back shot or a side shot or anything, just something that can give people an idea of who you are as a human being.
I'm Lebo, Aleese, from South Africa, Pretoria, and I've been in Beijing almost 4 years now. Okay, but that kind of like just sounds like code switching to me, right? It's depending on what room you're in, how you move, what you say.
Do you code switch when you're talking to a new girl?
I don't think I code switch, but I definitely, turn up the coolness factor a little bit, talk with a little bit more swagger.
Let's hear it.
Just like, I don't really, because I already have a pretty deep voice, but I'd be like slower. What's up? Do you want to get out of here? I'm going to the bar. What would you like to drink? All right.
Okay, that's nice. Invitation. Okay, I like that take on it too.
My name is Ian. I'm from the U.S., Houston, Texas, and I've been in China for about 4.5 years. Yeah, I mean, if it's a bot, they have like a script that they go through. So the first message is the same that they send to everybody, and it's a general hi, and then there's like a follow up, like a haha, that's so interesting, or like some kind of like fake follow up message. And so the easy strategy there is just to say nonsense or say stuff that's out, or just call them a bot, and they'll be like, oh, intro, that's cool, and just respond to it. It's like, okay, well, this is obviously not a real person, so you could smoke them out that way, which typically for that, sometimes I'll just go on for a little while just to see what else happens. And of course, there's an invitation into a Snapchat or some kind of social media thing where they can try to scam you out of money. Despite what I said, there is still somewhat of a stigma attached for some people, or whatever reason they have for not wanting to show their own pictures, to which I usually that is kind of a iffy spot for me. Like there have been times where I've added somebody and they've said that was not their picture, and they sent me their pictures and they look fine, like no problems. But it's like, well, you kind of lied to me already, like in a sense. I understand why you wanted to do it. I understand why you felt you had to do it, but at the same time, it's like, this is not a good starting point for a relationship. And typically I've said, I'm sorry, I'm just not interested.
Hello, this is Molly from Handan City, Hebei Province, China. For younger generations, it's pretty normal. Like they would use the pop stars pictures, the celebrities pictures, or animal picture, cute animal pictures, or even memes as their account photo. But when you graduate from university, when you're like talking to people in a more professional occasion, you slowly abandon those pictures. So that's why I think. Yeah.
So is it more like a cute interest kind of fun thing, or is it like protecting your security? I've had some people tell me they want to use a fake profile. They're worried about their profile picture being used and scammed.
I think most Chinese people, they are pretty reserved when they starting talk to you. So they prefer to have all the key information, including pictures, personal details, hidden. What they do is that they use a fake picture as the online dating picture, and then once they know each other more, they would literally ask each other for the real pictures that you have. So they do that as exchange. That means they know each other clearly. They're using the fake pictures.
So a mix of opinions there and some really valid points. But let's start with Aleese's comments. I mean, the heavily, edited photos. I've never really understood that. When I was on Tinder or like dating and stuff like that, I just felt like it's like a step backwards, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was a little bit baffling when I first came to China, and I was on apps as well, and you see such a heavily filtered photo, especially like for the women, the men, and
I just feel like, what's the utility of it? Because eventually you need to get over. It's a barrier, isn't it? And then when you get there, you're like, oh, you obviously. I mean, like if somebody's got like cat ears or like a unicorn. Horn.
You hate that.
Or like, I fucking hate it. Or like, they've got like one. I remember one like, they had like the rainbow coming out their mouth, and it's like, you know what? I want to go on that date, and I want you to have like. If you don't have these things, then I'm just gonna walk out because. Like, what is... I don't get it. Like, are you trying to show me that you're fun?
Eventually, they're gonna...
You like rainbows. Haha, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna meet up with that person, and they're gonna see what you really look like. I think that's the point for me. So anytime I saw super heavily filtered, I would swipe on that.
I'm surprised that guys do it, but then again, I've seen people that I know that have edited the photos, and it's like... Wow, that's not you, bro. Like, but like you've taken the time to do it.
Yeah, I think for me, even like coming to China and interacting with more Chinese people, and even when I was teaching, I had tons of university students, and they all used fake photos as well. So even in a non-dating environment, I remember thinking like, why does this person have a cat for their photo or a baby? And I asked my student Emily, I was like, why do you have a baby for your photo? Is this your baby? Like, who is this baby? And she's like, I don't know. Like, I just don't want to use my real photo. I think there's a real emphasis on privacy. Kind of what Molly was saying, like people want to feel really reserved. They don't want to like share their real photo until they get to know somebody. So that is always interesting to me as well. I mean,
getting on to Molly and Ian, what they were saying towards the end about, like Ian was talking about, some people might just be a little bit more reserved. But at what point is that somebody lying to you? Like if you say, okay, I understand that you might be a little bit more standoffish and you want to trust me more, but at the same time you lied to me and I put myself out there, and if that's your mindset, then I don't want to go forward with a date or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes to what Kelly said as well. Like, what's your intention with, like, if your intention is to date and to like get to know somebody, like, yeah, I think you both have to kind of be on the same level. Like, let's get to know each other for real and not like hide behind different things, or at least have something that's indicating this is me, not just a celebrity photo.
I mean, Kelly, once again, the sage voice of reason in the baffling world of dating and relationships.
Yeah, if you guys have listened to like episode 1 where we talked to some other expats, you might hear some of these same voices, and Kelly has got a really nice sound advice for dating.
Yeah, he should be an agony uncle.
Yeah,
I
he
think.
should.
We should tell him. But the baby voice thing, I've never heard anybody say that as like a common thing. He said this is a thing that girls do. I have never heard about that.
I think there's a certain thing, we'll need to ask a friend, but there in Chinese culture, I have heard there is a very defined, like a cute girl thing, and it's kind of something that some girls lean into.
That episode of The Office that we watched where Andy was called into the office and Michael Scott's like, there's reports that you're talking like a baby in the office.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Andy got a boo-boo tum-tum, like, is that it? Or is it more like a goo-goo gaga sort of thing?
I think it's just like the really cutesy, like, baby voice, trying to sound, maybe they think it will bring out a guy's like protective nature, or like, wow, I can take care of her. I don't know. I've never done a baby voice.
If somebody did that to me, I'd assume that they were an idiot. I'm like, okay, you're...
Or you're not old enough to be dating.
Yeah, you've been
Please
hit on the
stop.
head. Stop talking like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But what Kelly was talking about, though, about the understanding the cultural context, I think that's more important in a expat community or in an international city. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be China, I guess. It could also be London or anywhere. But it is important, that cultural context, about understanding where somebody's coming from and when they mean that. And we see that in the group chats, don't we? Like, we were dating out China, where somebody will say something, and then when you understand that person a little bit more about and where they're coming from, you're like, okay, you know, that's not as abrasive or as offensive as you can just read the text, and you flesh that person out as being more than two-dimensional, which they are, but being online, it's very easy just to categorize them, right?
Oh, yeah. This is a huge thing in our WeChat groups, of course. Like, I never realized, or I guess you do realize, but I've seen it so much happen in our groups because it's such a big group, diverse of people, like people from all over who have different levels of humor as well, different...
Lots of online worries as well. As soon as they see something wrong, and it's like, that doesn't fit in with my cultural understanding, then people are just pissed.
People are really quick to, like, ring the bell. They're like, I can't believe you just fucking said that. But yeah, it's the cultural
It's not happening in a while, though. It kind of feels nice. I think people are more preoccupied with the eminent, don't call it a lockdown. It's not a lockdown. Things are locking down, but it's not a lockdown.
It's not a lockdown.
It's not a lockdown.
Not yet.
Okay, so let's... Lebo, right? I think this is a really valid point, and this is what I was getting at the start of the episode about voice phishing. You know, it's just not as bad. You know, people code switch all the time. Like, the way that I talk outside of work with my friends is not the way that I talk at work, you know, or with a boss or with colleagues and stuff. So yeah, voice phishing, is that not just code switching?
No, I think it's different. I really do. I think voice phishing is an intentionality to, like, disguise or change to sound almost in a... I think it's beyond that. I think I do agree with you.
Did I do that when we first started dating? What would be appropriate for you? I guess if I sounded more British.
Yeah.
Oh,
Americans love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the more you spoke like that, I was like, wow, oh my gosh,
I can't remember. I can't remember sounding like. I mean, this is just my voice.
But yeah, I just knew your voice, anyways.
I am certain.
It's when you started talking to me about serviettes that you really got me. So Nathan has this thing, like, when we're at a restaurant,
it's just language. It's not a thing.
So we're at a restaurant, and Nathan will say, "Can you pass me a serviette?"
Because that's what it's called. It's
a
serviette.
And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
A napkin. I'm like, sorry.
It's a napkin.
It's a napkin. Oh my God! Can you pass me the napkin, please?
Who says serviette though? Like, we're not
British people.
We're not at like a tea party or something.
Civilized people that know what a serviette is.
Nobody says that.
It's ridiculous.
But anyways. So,
but I am confident
I've learned it's a fun, cute thing that you do. You're very proper though, which it is really fun.
I'm
nice.
pretty certain that if I wasn't British, we wouldn't have got on. Like we probably would have remained friends. If I was from buttfuck nowhere, America, then you'd be like, nah, he's not classy or, like, you know, international enough for me.
Got that extra British charm.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
can you imagine in a few years if you find that I'm actually from Minnesota, or, like, you know, I'm from
I've heard your American
New Jersey.
accents; they're terrible.
Yeah,
so
well, maybe
I'm
so good that I'm actually putting it, you know.
Okay, then I would be really impressed.
Yeah.
But what you said about code switching, I agree with that. I was, just looking at some definitions in case anybody doesn't know. Like, it's basically like a difference in two or more languages or between two dialects. So like Nathan Lee were saying, it could be, even when you're around British people, you speak more British. Like, you tone up those vocabulary words.
Well, because I don't have to filter myself anymore. I can just speak without...
Are you filtering yourself around me?
No, I mean, like, I don't have to watch which words I use, because I know they're going to be universally understood no matter which part of the country somebody's from.
Yeah.
I can
you
speak
switch
a lot.
to a more universally, like, understood vocabulary.
I can go back to more like my home dialect a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
when you talk to your mom and dad, like, especially on the phone, and I hear you, I was like, what is this word he's saying? You have this very strong Northern England accent that comes out.
And when you speak to yours, you just a lot of yeehaws and
hey y'all.
Hey y'all.
Fixing to go to the store.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You got me.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, it's interesting because people will do that in different situations, though, whether it's work or friendships, or, I have some friends, especially like friends who are Black. They tell me that they code switch. Like, that's just something they do in different environments and intercultural dimensions and things. So I think maybe that's very different than voice phishing.
But the final point that Ian made about the bots. Now, you see, I can't remember really experiencing bots when I was on dating
Maybe they were
apps.
just so good you didn't know.
Yeah, wow. Are you a bot?
You're so
Is this like
susceptible.
Westworld? Oh my god. But I tell you what I do get now. I actually get people that are not bots, but I try to get people try to scam me on Instagram. I've told you about that.
Yeah.
Where people like will add me and I think, okay, they might want to like, they might know me through like this or whatever. I'll just find out what they want. You know, I'm curious. And then after talking with the, like what Ian was saying, like the hi, oh yeah, you know, nice to meet you, where you from? And I talk about it, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And then eventually they're basically leading up to getting me to invest in like online trading. And
Bitcoins.
well, no, actually online trading's sort of different. And I've counted now, so anytime I get that, I will dedicate all of my time, all the day if I have to. 2 days it took me last time, that I actually try and convince them to sign up to Bitcoin. And I give them the marketing spiel while they're giving me their marketing spiel, to the point where the last one, she stopped answering to my messages. I was so proud.
Basically,
because I kept like, you know, messaging
you
her every like...
scammed the scammer.
Yeah, and then I gave her the marketing spiel, and then she didn't text back. And then the first thing I did the next morning is I got on Instagram and I texted her again. I was like, hey, have you given more thought to like checking out like more material? Do you want me to send you an email with the PDF and like just check out this website? And nothing, radio silence. So it's a new hobby.
You invested a lot of time into this
did.
too. Like you had come home, I guess,
did.
from work or from a walk, and you were like, "Look at all these messages I've created to send back to this scammer. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get her.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
see what she says to this." You were very invested.
Yeah.
My only worry is like maybe you got too invested. Like, what if you become what you hate because of doing that? What if
Wow.
you become addicted to it?
You know, die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's
Sage words.
yeah. R.I.P. Harvey Dent. So now we've got some stories to play. We've got some excellent stories. We've got 6 stories from people about their catfishing and voice phishing experiences. They are wild. So if you haven't experienced anything like this, you're going to love these stories. But if you have, then write into us and let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah, okay. So here's story number 1.
So my friend reminded me of this because I think I go on maybe like 2 dates a year because that's all I can handle because they're awful. So last year, I matched with this guy on Bumble, and the first red flag was he had a profile picture that was to the side and it was all in the shadow. So I couldn't really see much. But we had good conversation. I wasn't really that concerned with looks. I was like, the vibe is right. We had similar humor. It was good talks. And we arranged to meet. We go to the local, a bar here in Sanleytoon. I'm sitting there. I'm chilling. I'm waiting. And then I feel someone rub on my shoulders. And I'm not a very confrontational person. In my mind, I am. But in real life, I just like tense up and I freeze. So I was just sitting there like this, feeling very uncomfortable. And he walks around and my jaw drops and I'm like, no. This was the same man I had been on a date with a year ago that went nowhere and we got in a fight at the end of the date. And he sat across from me and he was like, baby girl, I just like, the only reason I got on Bumble was to find you. And I'm sorry I catfished you, but I've been looking for you. And now we're here and it's meant to be. And I was just like, oh, how did I fall for this? I feel really stupid.
He made a fake account.
Yeah.
Catfished you just to find you.
Yeah. So this guy made a whole fake account, apparently just to find me. Do I believe that BS? No. But it was extremely awkward and very uncomfortable. And I literally didn't know what to say. So I just was like, haha, okay, all right, yeah, sure, uh-huh. And I got really mad at myself because I should have fucking got up and left. But I didn't. And I sat there like a dummy, just trying to be polite. And then after that, I was like, I don't need a date. Because that was awful, and I hated the feelings. I hate like the position that he did put me in a position. I hate that it was a very strange manipulative position that he put me in, and that I was like too scared to get up and leave because I didn't want to be a bitch. But I had every fucking right to be a bitch because that was weird and it was crazy. And yeah, after that, I was like, yeah, not gonna date again.
So, Aleese.
This is just outrageous. This story, when she was telling it, the fact that he not only, they had a bad date, it ended badly. They got in a fight at the end of their first date, and somehow he thought, you know what, I'm still gonna find her again. I'm gonna catfish her and find her again.
No, I think that was something that he spun. Like, you know, it's like, oh, we matched again, and it's going well. What can I do? I mean, he's probably done that to a lot of girls. I don't know.
Yeah, it probably has. And I mean, it's really funny. Like when she's telling it, it's so funny, but also at the end, it's kind of scary and sad. You know, the fact that he did put her in that manipulative position because somebody's hoping, whether it's a guy or a girl, anybody could do this to another person, but you're hoping that you have put them in such a position that they're gonna feel, I don't know what to do. I'm going to stay and just sit this out. And she was like, I feel like I'm being a bitch right now if I get up or do something else. And that's terrible, like, you know?
And, you know, like, you speak to Aleese and she's got a bleak outlook on dating.
I don't blame her.
No, yeah, I agree. It's like, yeah, that's why you shouldn't date. You know, but we shouldn't be endorsing that, but
right.
yeah, no.
100%. So, yeah, that's just a wild story.
Okay, so next up, we've got another crazy story.
I've actually had it where a person's had their friend say like things about the person and not even them. So there's just like the friend was basically like, oh, this is my friend, da 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 da. She likes this, and then she recorded that and sent it to me, and I'm like it was like almost like a weird like, it was like not a job interview, but it was almost like a weird like almost like, you know, on LinkedIn where you can like oh yeah, they're good at Photoshop, you know. That's
right.
It was kind of like one of those.
Where's my friend right now?
Exactly, it was a weird endorsement, and it was just strange. And then she showed up, and she could talk fine English, but I know some of them might not be confident in it, and I get that. But I can promise you their English is way better than my Chinese.
Okay, so this story's not so much crazy, just like weird though. You know, I don't know why this is like a good tactic, you know?
It's just an interesting online dating experience where you have a friend endorse the friend.
It's just another step addition, isn't it? It's just another barrier, you know, because eventually you need to be on that date and you need to be you and you need to be talking in the same way as like the filtered photos don't reveal who you actually are. It's just another barrier. It's just strange. Yeah,
but I do think there's a different way to go about this that works well, because I have talked to lots of my other female friends. Maybe this is also for men as well, but if you have an endorsement from a mutual friend, like, hey, if my friend knows the guy and they're like, hey, yeah, I know that guy, like, you guys should go out, it feels a bit safer. So sometimes you want a friend endorsing it, but I don't think this is the right way to go about doing that.
If I was single, I'd want like an endorsed advertisement with a proper voiceover actor. Like, are you tired of dating losers? Well, look no further.
Yeah.
Nathan will,
Yeah, you would. Yeah. So it's either got to be all the way done very well or not at all for you.
Yeah, I want sponsored adverts. I want a radio ad. I want like billboards.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But I'll never get to that, so it's fine.
All right.
Okay, now this next one is just weird, but the storyteller, Shannon, is very funny.
Hey, my name is Dr. Shannon Evans. I'm from the Bahamas, and I have lived in China for almost 4 years. On Tinder, and I haven't been on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge in like months, maybe even almost a year. But back in the day, there was this guy, he was like really handsome. And like there are some profiles that are just a little bit too good to be true, right? So he's like really handsome and we're talking and it seems okay. And I like to wait a while before I give someone like my WeChat information, because then once you get there, it's too much effort. I now have to block you from this and block you from something else. So, we're talking for a bit. Seems nice, seems cool. So he's like, can we move this conversation to WeChat? Sure, let's do it. I think I gave him my WeChat ID. So he adds me. Completely different name, completely different picture. I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? What are we doing? So I go back to, I think it was Tinder, and I'm like, hey, so is this you? And he's like, yeah, it's okay. Well, there's dissonance happening because you're one person here and you're one person there. Which one is you? And so he gave me some story about how, I don't know, it didn't make sense at the time, but it was almost like, you know, like hiding from the ops kind of thing. You know, like he had to protect himself. Sir, what are you protecting? You know, what? This, if you were protecting this over here, I get it. This is what you were protecting from who? What? We need the protection, sir. What is all? No. No, I will not. I cannot. So yeah, he pleaded and was like, no, just, nope. There's no need. There is no need. Losing my faith in humanity.
What I love about that story is when she says, you know, there's dissonance happening. It's brilliant.
I love how she was like, what are we protecting? Like, this over here I would get, but this one, like, it's so interesting.
I love how it's like, that is the best line he could think of.
Right.
Like, I am hiding because I'm some sort of spy or something, you know.
I think it's funny. I bet it's probably just that weird cultural misunderstanding thing that he's like, this is my real identity and I need to hide it from cyber trafficking. We do have people, even in our WeChat groups, who say that. They're like, I'm not sharing any personal details here. I'm not going to use this. So I guess that is a very big real fear that people have. But the way it comes across when you are dating, why set up a whole different profile for this other person instead of just changing some things to be a little bit more private? I don't know. It's baffling.
Baffling. Well, okay, so we've carried on. We've got 3 more stories to share. The next one is Cale's. Heart goes out to him on this one, but again, very funny.
My name is Cale Holmes. I lived in China for 3 years. I'm originally from Texas by way of Washington, D.C. There was this woman I matched with on Tauntaun, and like we were kind of talking a little bit, like just not really deep, but you know, we were clearly like having fun and like having fun over text, I mean. And then she was like saying, anything could happen anytime. Our lives are very short. And she like dropped me a pin and I assumed it was her place. And so I ended up buying a bottle of wine. I like said, okay, I'll maybe meet you here this day. And I went there and it was like an institution, it was a massage place. And I was like, I bought this bottle of wine and I don't even drink Pinot Grigio. It's the saddest part. It was a group catfish. I feel like I had the perfect opportunity to make the film The Tauntaun Swindler.
Group catfish.
I love Cale's story, and he's just such a wholesome guy. The way he tells this story. And he was so innocent, and he's got this bottle of wine.
But that any logical guy would assume that was on, you know? It's like, life is short, and like, you know, things are precious, and, you know, we should appreciate the here and now, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Here's a pin. Like, why would you not assume that is
It's an invitation.
Yeah.
Things are on. I mean, I think that's the thing. It's
and
like
it's
a
guy's
wine. It's a guy's dream.
Wine,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love also that he emphasized. He's like, I got some Pinot Grigio. I don't even drink it.
But that's what I don't understand. That's the only part of it. Like, if you wouldn't just drink. You wouldn't just bring a bottle that you can drink.
I think he wanted to impress her though, and maybe that's.
Well, impress her with a bottle that you can drink.
Well, I bet they all enjoyed that bottle of wine together.
I wonder if they did.
I wonder what happened next, though.
We didn't ask.
Tell us. We should have asked him. What happened next at this massage parlor where they all group catfished? Also, was that their plan to begin with? Were they like, hey, we're all going to come together. Let's catfish one person. Is it all to get sales? Or is it like an underground kind of like, you know, kind of kinky massage parlor?
Maybe it's like, you know, like when you hear those scamming stories about new tourists getting invited to a tea shop and then they're being like given like a very hefty bill at the end. It's that assumption that people just go along with it and pay.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Or maybe they wanted more from him.
Maybe.
I don't know. And is this like a thing they do regularly? Like, did they know what they were doing?
If you have been catfished and sent to a massage parlor, let us know.
Tell us any group catfishing experiences.
Bizarre though. Okay, 2 more stories left.
Hi, my name is Maria. I live in Beijing, 5 years now in Beijing. So I want to share my story. It's a story that began in the dog community group in Beijing because I'm a pet owner and I have 2 dogs. And one man added me from this group, first sent me a friend request, and talking about dogs, etc. So I trust him because it was not from a dating application. It was from a dog group. So that's the conversations. I asked him why he had me, what he's expected from me, and he was very clear that he wanted more than a friendship. He just wanted to have someone in his life. So that goes over for more than 6 months, where at a point he tell me that he have another WeChat account that I need to use because it's more comfortable using the other one. I began to have a red flag on my ears because the conversation in the new account was different. There was a lot of emojis, there was a lot of emotional. It was very, it wasn't the same feeling of deep conversation that I had before. So I said, I have the impression I'm talking to a girl, not to a boy. I contacted different friends that confirm me that this man is not really maybe the one that he say he is. So I told him that I want a phone call with him, a video call with him, etc. But that was a bit complicated. So also I wasn't sure that I really wanted this for myself. So where it began, it's that emotionally it was very complicated because it was long chat 2 times a day, morning and evening, chat of 1 hour. It was very long, it was very deep, it was really knowing one another with a lot of conversation toward work, religion, a lot of things, future plan, etc. It was very well done. Also, he was very caring about my own health. He was insisting that I need to do full body check every time, and it was very intrusive relationship. He began to ask me for money because he sent me some gift. He put some important document, and I needed to pay to get this gift to me. Because the pack was blocked in Macau, and there was a lot of stories around this pack. So I asked some lawyers and some friends that told me that Macau are custom free, so it's just catfish thing. So at that point I delayed him, but I forget to block him. So he sent me a message crying that all his documents are inside. How can I give this to him? That's not fair. He just trusted me. It was very intense message. So I feel myself very, very, very bad. And I say, oh my God, I did something back to someone that doesn't deserve it. So I add him back. And we go back again in this because he said he went to Italy, and the conversation was again over 2 times a day for a long time. And this time he began to ask me for money because his project has some problems. So all information he gave me, I check it out in internet. I check it with some friends, and that was pretty correct. So it was well prepared, this organization, to make sure that emotionally they can track you, they can run you dependent on them. It's a long, intrusive conversation to reach to a point to get some money from you, and not small amount of money, because he asked me to send some euro. I say, I'm sorry, I don't send euro. I don't have European bank account. So he asked me to ask some friends to give him money. And at a point, I just blocked and delayed him and delayed all the conversation of him. And that's it. So I take a long time to get over this for myself, because it's just, this story brings me down in a very deep way. But the good thing is that it gives me the will of realizing what I really want for myself. So it's made me stronger.
Okay, so this one is like way more intense. This is like borderline. Well, this is fraud, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
It sounds like the Tinder swindler.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think it very much is that emotional connection thing first, to try to create a bond with somebody and lure them into that sense of comfort and vulnerability and opening up, and then trying to ask for the money.
You know, it'd be great to actually see if we could message her and see a photo of the person that was catfishing her, or the profile,
I don't know if she even got one.
Oh my word! But 6 months as well.
I know.
You know, and those what did you say? Two 2 times a day, an hour-long chats,
Yes.
being so concerned about
Right.
personal health and everything.
And planning a future, talking about work and life, and
It's nuts. And then
Yeah.
eventually the money thing after like all that groundwork.
yeah, that's the long game, I guess, for some scammers.
Well, you just have to watch a Tinder swindler to see how something like that is as obvious as it might seem. But you do that enough times with enough people, and then you've got a steady like passive income flow
yeah.
from other people.
It's nuts, but it's just so much emotional manipulation, and
Yeah.
you know. And then she said she even tried video calling, but it was complicated, and they made excuses, and
Gaslighting and probably, you know,
Yeah.
and just turning it around, and the guilt that she felt for,
Yeah.
for trying to put barriers up.
yeah, that's intense. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, good for her for
Yeah.
eventually getting to the point like, okay, no, I'm not cool with this anymore, and I'm stepping away, and you know. I'm sure that's just hard when you're slowly stepping in. I think that's the thing people don't always realize about these situations. It's such a slow and steady emotional trust that they're trying to build with you to eventually scam. So it's not like all at once and people are like, how didn't you see it? You know, it's always a slow and steady thing that you think. And she met him in a WeChat group, and it was a dog group. She said she has a dog. So usually those kind of communities, you're like, oh, I can trust this maybe a little bit more, but you never know, I guess.
You never know. Okay. One more story left. Are we ready?
Yes.
My name is Lina and I'm Russian. I live in Beijing and I lived in China for about 6 years now. So obviously being a single girl in China is challenging, and catfishing is not an uncommon thing. So I've been catfished quite some times, and though it's typical for men to be catfished by the looks, I guess, of the girls, but I've been catfished by Nationality. I went on a date with a guy from Tinder who's been chatting with me for quite a while, and he was saying that he's Australian, and he had like photos from Australia from what I could see. But when we met, he had this like thick Slavic accent, which was pretty easy to recognize since I'm Russian. And I tried to confront him. I told him, like, look, you don't sound Australian at all. And he said that, oh, like, Australians had their like very specific accent. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't sound anywhere close to anything like Australian accent. And he kept saying that, no, it's just a part of the country accent kind of thing. And then I spoke in Russian to him, and he had to admit after that that he was indeed from Eastern Europe.
This one.
Wow. I mean, I don't know what to say about this one. It's a bit...
It's interesting that she did note some people catfish by looks. We've talked about the photos and things, but he catfished her by nationality,
yeah.
which is an interesting thing as well. You're like, eventually, if you meet up in person, they might recognize your accent, and maybe he thought he could get away with it.
I just don't know how you thought he could get away with it.
And especially if he knew she was
I'm
Russian.
from Australia. Yes, this is the part. It's
Your accent's
south.
so good.
Strange.
Maybe he thought, oh, maybe she's not going to notice. Maybe he's done that before to other women who didn't know the accents very well. Or maybe he thought he was hiding it. But she's Russian, and she was like, I know that Eastern European accent. You can't hide that.
But I'm not going to name any names, but I think you'll know a few people that I'm talking about. There are some people that I've met in China where they'll have an affinity for another country.
Yes.
And then they'll start saying that they might be Chinese or they might be from wherever, and they say, I identify as somebody from Africa. And it's like, huh, okay, or I identify as Japanese.
Yes.
And it's like, but you can't do that.
That doesn't change like how how and where you're born
just
and your
appreciate
culture.
appreciate the culture
Yeah.
and the country and the people and everything, but you can't change like.
That happened in our WeChat group once as well. Somebody was like,
Yeah.
I identify as like German, and they're definitely not German. And
Yeah.
you can't, you can't.
To the point where it's like us Germans or something like that, and it's like, well, no, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because you can have an appreciation for another culture. You can, love it.
Unless like they've
learn
been
about
living
it.
there for like years, you know what I mean? And it's like I've lived here so long that I do feel,
Yeah.
because I do know some. Thinking about it now, I do know some like people that have lived here for so long that they feel more at home in the Chinese culture than they do their own.
But would they say that they're? I don't know. Like, would they still claim? I know that there's
They'd
many
say I'm more.
expats.
They'd say I'm more Chinese than I am, say
guess.
British or anything like
Yeah.
that. But like to just, I think these people are the other people that I mentioned earlier. They've just been there for like 1 or 2 years, or like they appreciate everything about the culture. So it's like they're adopting it, kind of like it feels like kind of like a new hairstyle.
Yeah.
It's like this is my new look. I'm Filipino or I'm wherever. And it's like I don't know if you can say that.
Swap it like a hat. But I guess you're right. There are people who have lived in a culture or really been there for a long, long time that they do identify with the cultural values and the livelihood, and that's a tricky line, I guess. But I think what he
And
was
for
doing
dating
was
as well, I
different.
think that's a no-no.
No,
right?
yeah, especially yeah.
You just say like I'm from.
It doesn't even sound like he was trying to adopt. Well, maybe he was trying to adopt Australian livelihood. I don't know.
I wonder if he was like throwing like a few like good day mates and like well for a date I thought we'd go for a barbie. I mean I'm being very
You're very stereotyping the Australians
I am.
now.
Yeah. Sorry, any Australians, Aussies that have.
The Aussies. I could see you being an Aussie though. You lived there for a while, so
Yeah, I
maybe
did.
you could say you're
Can
Australian.
I say that? I lived there for a year. Can I say that I'm Australian? Yeah. G'day, Rach. Let's go for a walk and have a few chinnies.
And in Australia, they also say thongs, and that confused me for a
Thongs,
long
yeah,
time
yeah.
because thongs in America is very different.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Flip flops. We call them flip flops.
Yeah, we call them flip flops too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little fun fact about Australia.
Thank you for tuning in to our cultural show.
Yes. So that's it. That's all the stories.
Wow. Yeah, there were some wild ones and such a depth and variety because it manifests in many different ways with online dating and dating scams and catfishing. Sometimes it's not like a specific outright catfish, but sometimes it's a very roundabout way of not being yourself.
Yeah. This has been a fun episode, and we've got a video to complement this. It'll be coming out soon.
We do. So you guys, you
Yeah.
need to check us out on YouTube, and we're on Bilibili if you are in China or don't have a VPN.
But for now, we are going to leave you with the very sage and no-nonsense advice from Aleese, who has just been a treasure trove of stories and opinions in this episode. So enjoy and happy dating.
Voice phishing, like, just be yourself. It's so easy. Like, why are you trying so hard? Especially in China, like, we've already been through enough shit. Just be yourself. Don't nobody got time for you trying to catfish, voice fish. Like, no, you're gonna get blocked. Don't do it. Just be you. If you've lived through COVID in China and you haven't been to your home in 3 years, the last type of bullshit you're trying to put up with is someone faking their identity. So don't do it. Just don't. Just be like, hi, this is my voice and I sound like a chipmunk. I'm sorry, but this is me. Whatever. It's fine. It's slim pickings.
And because you mentioned it, so Alvin, Simon, or Theodore. Which Snog, marry, kill.
Oh!
Wait, fuck, marry, kill.
Oh! Okay, Alvin, Theodore, and Simon. Simon's the annoying one.
He's the one with glasses. He's
Simon!
He's the smart one, he does all the science stuff, he gets...
Who's Theodore? In the blue?
He's like the cute little one.
He's a cute one,
Little butterball. He's just kind of there.
Alvin's the main dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
So fuck, marry, kill.
Fuck, marry, kill the 3 chipmunks, Alvin, Theodore, and Simon. I'd be marrying Alvin, because he's the star. And he probably got the bank account to back it up. I would probably fuck Simon, because He's the nerd, and nerds are usually the freak in the sheets. And then I would kill Theodore because I don't know nothing about him. And it would be an easy kill. I don't know you, so plop, plop.